If you turn out to a butterfly or somebody will step on you like a little worm, it's your choice.
You could say one thing to somebody who's never been an entrepreneur and they're thinking about making the leap of faith into becoming an entrepreneur. What could you tell them?
Well, I'll just tell them the same thing that happened to me. You know, my last paycheck, I still remember it clearly. It was one of the worst and the best days of my life. And I was in Puerto Rico. I was working for Xerox, and my boss gave me my last, it wasn't a paycheck, it was a bonus check. I think it was about 30,000 bucks, taxable. It's the only problem with that. So I got this check and I went, holy mackerel. You know what I mean? So I was excited, but I was also disturbed. And so this other guy comes up to me, his name was John, and John says to me, he says, you're gonna be back. I said, why? He says, because you're gonna fail. I looked at him and said, look, few expletive words, because that's what he did. He left Xerox, failed, and he came back. And I said, look, you failed and you came back, but I'm gonna fail and I'm never coming back. And that's the attitude. Do you know what I mean? If you say, well, if I fail, I'll go back to mommy and daddy, then that's what you'll do. So if you fail, that's when I became an entrepreneur, because I had no money. I had no money for years. You know, I didn't have a paycheck, but that's what my rich dad encouraged me to do. He says, when you don't have this paycheck, you get hungrier, smarter, and it's a test of your character. Will you become a crook? Will you become dishonest? Will you cheat and steal? Or will you become a better human being? So really, that's the benefit of becoming an entrepreneur. The most obsolete idea is go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market. See, why would you save money when they're printing trillions of dollars? The gap between the 1% and 99% is massive. You see, it's not just money. You have to step back and look at the bigger picture.
So what do you do?
In every one of us is a poor person. There's still a poor person inside me. There's also a middle class person, and the middle class persons want security. They want that steady paycheck. And there's a rich person. And they're all inside of us, except that it's not taught. You're taught to go to school, get a job, and get a paycheck. You're not taught to how to get rich. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my rich dad refused to pay me. He said the paycheck was one of the most damaging things you could take in your life. He says the moment you take a paycheck, you're an employee, and that's the mindset. So my rich dad never paid me taxes. Debt and taxes make the rich richer. Debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poor. So all the rich guys who are doctors and lawyers, or, you know, those guys, they're getting creamed, and they don't know why.
Doctors are getting creamed.
Oh yeah, they're making more money, but the take home is less.
Sure.
You know, my doctor just yelled at me. He was happy. He says, oh, guess what? I finally made $1 million. And I said, yeah, this was just 3 weeks ago. And so I said, yeah, well, how much you pay in tax? He says, $750,000 in taxes. So his net was about $400,000. That's not bad. But when I make $1 million, I keep $1 million. And the reason is because I don't make it by working for money. See, if you work for money, you're taxed. So that's why lesson number 1 in Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the rich don't work for money. What we do instead is we create businesses as entrepreneurs. We acquire real estate. I don't invest in the stock. So the reason is because as entrepreneurs, I have more control over my income, how much I make, and how much I pay in taxes. And because I'm an entrepreneur as well as an investor in real estate, I pay 0 tax.
Well, let me give one more stat just to give you the size of it, okay? The national debt for World War II was $25 billion. Every day today, they're printing 125 billion. Every single day, that's like 5 World War IIs per day. They're printing so much money to keep this think of a hot air balloon with a tear in it. And they're doing desperately trying to fix this tear, but no matter how hard they try, the tear has gone beyond, it's coming down. So in financial terms, it's called our debt to GDP has now gone from 60 to 90 to 105, it's going to 120. We're bankrupt. And they're going to print more and more money, which means savers are losers, just as I predicted. Your money is going to be worthless in a few years. My message is the same as some of your other guests. This is metamorphosis type. Financial education, in Rich Dad's terms, is really financial transformation. And the definition of metamorphosis is very important. Metamorphosis, the definition is the evolution or the transformation from an immature form to an adult form. An immature form to an adult form. Metamorphosis is the same as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And Fuller always said there's nothing to predict a butterfly inside a caterpillar. So everybody listening right now, if you're struggling financially, just think of yourself as a little caterpillar. And this crisis is your cocoon.
And that's why I'm the old guy, you know. I meet my friends who went to Harvard. I say, I went to Harvard. I said, yeah, that was how long, 50 years ago? Today, the banks are charging you interest to save money. In other words, banks don't want your money because they printed too much of it. And that's why there's this bubbles in stocks and bubbles in real estate and all this. People are dumping the cash because, as I said in here, savers are losers and cash is trash. And yet people, well, I want a high-paying job. Well, that's an obsolete idea. Get out of debt is an obsolete idea. You should learn how to get into debt, how to use debt to get rich, and they'll never teach you about taxes. The reason the 1% is way up here and the 99% are going this way is because when you print money, two things happen: inflation and taxes. It's going to crush you. And any entrepreneur thinks, I'm just going to make money, I'm going to start a business and make a lot of money because of what we talk about. They really have got to smell the roses, man. You know, that's not what the real entrepreneurs are doing. And we have, as a world, have never been here before. And so is it a spooky time? Damn yeah, it is probably the most dangerous time ever. There's nothing to compare it to because there's never been a world economy before. For example, you know, 100 years ago, if there was a stock market crash in England, it didn't affect anybody. But now the US market goes down, the world goes down. So plus with social media and all this we're doing now, we've never been here before. And you know, I'm excited about it because I make more money in crashes than I do when they go up. So, but for the average person, they'll get wiped out. I'm afraid at the worst, I hope I'm wrong, but I think we're heading for a global depression.
How does this play out for the average worker, Robert, for the small business owner? I mean, what does the next 3 months look like? Because it doesn't look pretty. I mean, people are already being laid off, made redundant. Businesses there's no cash flow in most of these businesses. How does that play out?
Well, let me give one more step just to give you the size of it, okay? The national debt for World War II was $25 billion. Every day today, they're printing $125 billion. Every single day, that's like 5 World War IIs per day. They're printing so much money to keep this think of a hot air balloon with a tear in it.
It starts up here.
Right, it's that fear mentality.
It's in their words, you know, and the words become flesh. Okay, I'm not really religious. I flunked out of Sunday school also. But when they say I can't afford it or I can't do that, they go down. They become what they say. My PhD daddy says, what do you think I am, made of money? I can't afford that. And my rich dad would say, that's why he's poor. Poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. Because it's an escape. It's an escape, you know what I mean? It's easy to say, I can't afford it.
And your rich dad used to say what instead of, I can't afford it?
How can I afford it? How can I do that? You know, what would it take, or why should I do that? He says that a question opens the mind, a statement closes the mind. See, when you say, I can't afford it, your mind shuts down, and you become what you say. Rugby is a team sport, but so is soccer. The rules are different. And other people are golfers. So you always have to look at the big picture. Too many people look at, well, what's going to happen to me? When you look at the big picture, you're also going to know that when something bad happens, something good's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But you got to prepare for whatever is coming. If you think next 20 years will be like the last 20 years, you're going to get creamed. You know, when you and I go to the supermarket and we buy a carton of milk, we always check for the expiration date. But most people do not check for the expiration date on their brains. Instead of get out of debt, I get into debt. You know, I just refinanced $300 million in debt. I went from 5% to 2.5% interest. I made a fortune. Every month, more money comes in because my cost of money has gone down. So while some
Especially
financial
today.
experts are saying get out of debt, I'm saying learn how to use debt. See, when I came back from in Vietnam in January of '73, the first thing my rich dad said to me was go to school to learn how to invest in real estate. It wasn't real estate, it was how to use debt and taxes. Debt and taxes make the rich richer. Debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poor. So all the rich guys who are doctors and lawyers or, you know, those guys, they're getting creamed and they don't know why. And then that's when, you know, you have one green house. You know, he says, there's many formulas for great success in money. There's thousands of them, but one of the best ones is found on the game of Monopoly. It still is today. 4 green houses, 1 red hotel. I said, what? He says, one of the greatest ways to acquire great wealth is playing Monopoly in real life. 4 green houses, 1 red hotel. Well, is that all there is? He goes, and he says, what do you think I'm doing? And I went, I don't know. So then he took me out and he showed me his green houses. And 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel.
Just like the game of Monopoly.
Just like the game of Monopoly. But what we were actually talking about was there's no such thing as a bad economy. You know, there's the external, you and I, we all have an external economy, but we also have an internal economy. And the willpower is to change our internal economy. So for me, I can see the good and I can see the bad. I don't really give a damn because I'm going to be rich anyway. But a poor person with a poor personal economy, all they're going to see is a bad economy because they don't know how to make money in any economy. And a middle class person, they have a middle class economy. You know, what they want is a nice house, and a steady paid job, and the car. And so when you take their job away, to them, that's disaster. Well, since an entrepreneur doesn't have a job anyway, it's no big deal. So all I'm saying to people, and it's what Bucky Fuller taught me, is always 2 sides, you know what I mean? You know, to use plural, at minimum 2. So if you think the economy is bad, it's because your economy is bad. If you think that steady, you know, employment is important, then you'll see an economy without jobs. He said the paycheck was one of the most damaging things you could take in your life. He says the moment you take a paycheck, you're an employee, and that's the mindset. So my rich dad never paid me. It drove my poor dad, you know, a government employee, nuts. You gotta pay people, you gotta pay people. And Rich Dad was not saying that the paycheck was bad. He says you didn't want to be a slave to money. So as an entrepreneur, you know, if Rich Dad folded, I just started another company. I don't need a paycheck. I don't need anybody to take care of me. If my government doesn't like me, I move to another country because they need entrepreneurs there. So the entrepreneur is not so much the business. The entrepreneur is really the mindset and the skill sets and the different set of rules. You see, I don't operate, small business does not operate in the same rules as big business. Entrepreneur is a mindset first, a skill set, and rules. And depending upon whether you're an employee or a small business, the rules are different.
And definition of metamorphosis is very important. Metamorphosis, the definition is the evolution or the transformation from an immature form to an adult form. An immature form to an adult form. Metamorphosis is the same as a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. And Fuller always said there's nothing to predict a butterfly inside a caterpillar. So everybody listening right now, if you're struggling financially, just think of yourself as a little caterpillar. And this crisis is your cocoon. The question is, what do you emerge as? Do you emerge as a victim? You know, the world did that to me, and the capitalists are crook, and the rich are bastards and all this stuff? Or do you say, oh, this is the best thing that ever happened to me? The same as my health. I am ground zero for the coronavirus. All that does is inspire me to get healthier. You're either going to get healthier and wealthier, or you're going to go bust. Your choice. It sits between your ears, your heart, your body, your mind, your spirit, your attitude. This could be the best thing that ever happened to you. physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, if you turn out to a butterfly or somebody will step on you like a little worm. It's your choice.
The school system will never teach you about money. The school system was designed to teach you to be an employee, which is important, or a doctor or a lawyer, a specialist, but never about money. And what most people lack is real business knowledge, like accounting, like debt, like taxes. You got to know that stuff, but they don't teach it in school to anybody. So, and then when people ask me, how did your rich dad learn this when your poor dad, a PhD, didn't? And the answer is very simply, my rich dad, who's my best friend's father, his father died when he was 13. So his rich dad had this family business at 13 to run. So he had to drop out of school, which was his blessing. There's blessings, and sometimes the blessing doesn't look like a blessing, but it turned out to be a blessing. And then his teachers became his bookkeeper, his accountant, his attorney, his banker, his real estate agents. It's called an internal focus versus an external focus. So the real entrepreneur has an internal focus, that if they fall down, they say, oh, this is good, because I'm going to go up higher. The average person will fall down and say, oh, I'm going to take some Prozac. Or somebody has a mistake, so, oh, the mistakes don't matter. Well, mistakes matter. It means you didn't know something. But a real entrepreneur, whether they fall down, they always can go up. They can stand back up and go higher. And no matter what happens to them, they get stronger and better and smarter and happier. But a person with a weak internal mindset is that they're so afraid of what happens, it generally happens. Like, people who are afraid of losing their jobs, they generally lose their jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so everything
you can
comes through you.
Yeah, so the entrepreneur first job is to control inside here, not outside there. The moment you take that paycheck, you're an employee. You've got to be stronger than that. It's about inside control. Right. Keep them poor. So my father was the head of education, PhD, all that stuff. I go home and ask him, said, why don't we learn about money in school? And he looked at me and says, because the government doesn't let us teach that subject. Government tells us what we can teach and what we can't teach. And I thought that was strange. And I said, but aren't we going to school to learn about money? He says, no, your job is to get a job. I said, but you get a job to earn money. He goes, no, you're supposed to just get a job. I went, no. Isn't the purpose of a job to earn money? He goes, you're correct. I said, so why don't I just learn about money? I can skip the job part, And he got flustered and he said, if you want to learn about money, why don't you ask your best friend's father about money? And I said, why? That's Mike. So I asked him. He says, because Mike's father is an entrepreneur. When we have obsolete ideas, we get obsolete results. So what's happening for most people, the idea of going to school, getting a job, working hard, saving money, getting out of debt, buying your house because it's an asset, and investing for the long term, is obsolete. The world has changed. The world changed in 1971 when President Nixon took us off the gold standard and money became debt.
What if we get rid of school? Then what would happen? Would it be better if we had no educational system at all?
No, I'm saying education is more important before. It's just obsolete. There's Moore's Law, which states information doubles every 18 months. In other words, everything's obsolete 18 months. So, and this is just a recent phenomenon. So when you come out of school, you're already obsolete. And that's why I'm the old guy, I meet my friends who went to Harvard. I went to Harvard. I said, yeah, that was how long, 50 years ago? Today, the banks are charging you interest to save money. In other words, banks don't want your money because they printed too much of it.
Focus and fail fast. Learn quickly. Try something new. The faster you fail and learn, the faster you succeed. You actually learn to succeed by failing. Thomas J. Watson's famous line, if you want to increase your rate of success, you must double your rate of failure. Because success...
You got to really focus on your finances. What's a necessity? What's necessary? What's just for enjoyment? Let's cut out the enjoyment until we in a position where we really on our feet. I've done it. Sometimes you gotta push yourself. You gotta challenge.
Brother, it only takes 6 months to completely change your life. 6 months of discipline. Wake up early, hit your non-negotiables. Stack wins even when you don't feel like it. 6 months of dopamine control. Cut the scroll and delay gratification. Soon you'll crave focus, not stimulation. 6 months of intentional action. Stop overthinking and start doing. Take focused action towards your goals every single day, no matter how small. 6 months of saying no to distractions, to excuses, to comfort. Say yes only to the things that move you forward. 6 months of systems over motivation. Build workflows and automate your habits. Let systems carry you even when your energy doesn't. If you're able to do this,
Stay away from hood people. Stay away from ghetto people. Stay away from people who are in a survival mentality. They're the most dangerous people to be around. See, one thing that I realized about people who romanticize the struggle is that they have no value for life. They'll take your life for bread. Your life is worth no more than a $20 bill to these people. See, these people don't have a value for life, so why would you risk your life being around these people when they don't value their own life? Why would they value yours? See, you need to stay around high vibrational people. People who understand that money is just a tool, not a value for life. $1 billion isn't worth your life. But people in the hood mentality, they don't understand that. Don't romanticize street life. They put it in the music, they put it in the movies because they want to poison the youth, because they want to make you believe that your life is just as worthless as a brick. They want you to believe that you can't be an entrepreneur or a business.
You have to lose your fear of failure. Failure is a part of the process. People who never fail, never try. You have to fail. You got to get it wrong to get it right. You learn nothing from winning. You're
looking for this great mythical mental toughness. Mental toughness doesn't come from sitting on the couch. It doesn't come from wishing it would come true. It comes from putting in the work, and you have to start developing your mindset. Mindset is not developed by wishing. Mindset is developed by doing and actually putting into practice. The mind wants to have control over you. You need to have control over your own mind. So that's all about the mental health. Your mind's gonna always guide you in a spot that wants to make you feel comfortable and nice and secure. And it's in those spots that there's no growth. Without friction, there's no growth. So that's what I constantly preach about.
Burnout is not even real. You burn out mainly because you're busy, not because you're actually productive. Working nonstop without good direction, it feels like progress, but it's just motion. You cannot do everything and expect to last a long time. Systems will save your energy and boundaries protect your focus. My mom taught me that, and she said, rest is earned through structure, not escape. So
set up a schedule and just do the work. Free from how you feel, because also feelings sometimes, you wake up one day you feel this way, you wake up the next day you feel another way. It's just not helpful to base your structure or your goal on how you feel. You stick to what you put there on paper. And this struggling of there are still so many distractions every day coming up. No, but you stick to the plan. You stick to your plan to do what you have committed yourself to, and at the same time you don't do the things you already know are not good for you. Set up a
planning is the cause of every failure. Action without planning is the cause of underachievement. Action without planning is the cause of frustration, time wastage, anxiety, stress, and lack of success in life. So organized plans of action are critical. Now, what is an organized plan of action? An organized plan of action is where you take your goal, you take your objective, and you write out every single step that you're going to have to follow in order to accomplish that objective. You write it out and you list all those plans of action, all of those different activities, and you organize them together into a plan that you can then implement on a day-to-day basis. You decide which has to be done first and which has to be done last, which is more important, which is less important. In fact, the ability to set goals and to create plans for their accomplishment is the master skill of success. If all you learned in life, all you learned in school.
There's 3 things you can do to reprogram your mind.
Firing neural pathways. Please go. Get up in the morning. Get up early in the morning. Not early, just get up in the morning. If you get up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, go straight into the bathroom. If you brush your teeth with your right hand, start brushing with the left. Look into the mirror. Now we're talking to the subconscious brain. Eye to eye in the mirror and say, I love you 10 times. When you finish that, Let's get some oxygen inside you to start the day. Exaggerated breaths to start the day. That
How many?
Rewinds straight away.
How many breaths?
I always tell my guys do 25 in the morning, 25 lunchtime, 25 in the evening.
Okay, so left-handed teeth brushing.
Yes.
Look straight in the eye in the mirror. I love you. I love you. I love you 10 times.
Yes.
And exaggerated breaths. 25.
Will change your life.
Will change your life.
Change your life. Guys, listen at home. I know there's a lot of people listening and or watching. Do them 3 things. If your life doesn't change that day, give me a call. I'll send you $100 for wasting your time.
You know that you can increase your intelligence and creativity by exercising your brain in a different way. Here's a simple exercise that will change your life, as it has changed mine and thousands of other people. Take a sheet of paper, write your current goal or problem at the top of the page in the form of a question. For example, you could write, how can we double our sales over the next 24 months? You then force yourself to write 20 answers to that question. Once you've written down 20 answers, and you can write more answers if you like, but 20 is the minimum, go over your list and select one answer which you can implement.
Get the fuck over it. They no longer want you. Sometimes life can really hijack your fucking mind. When that happens to you, you're all fucked up. Your goals, your ambitions, everything is out the fucking window. In life, we all go through different things. Maybe you failed a test in school, you worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the fucking test. Get over it, move past it. Learn to not let life hijack your brain. At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't fucking get it, someone else does. Maybe they kiss better ass than you do. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours. Get after it, stay hard.
I need you to keep your word to yourself. Every day you get up and you say you're going to do something. Just focus on the day. Every day, keep your word to yourself every day and do what you said you're going to do in order to take life to
the one thing in the whole universe over which you have complete control, and that is your thoughts. If you wish to change any of the conditions of your life, you have to change the thoughts that precede those conditions. You have to change what is going on in your mind. Whatever you believe with feeling, and this is the key, with feeling, and the more emotion you put into a belief, becomes your reality. If you believe something that is positive or believe something that is negative, or as Henry Ford said, if you believe you can do a thing or if you believe you cannot, you are right. Most of the limitations we have do not exist in reality. They exist only in your own mind. We have a deep down desire inside of us to remain consistent. So we're always trying to view our world, rationalize our world, interpret our world so that it is consistent with what we have already decided to believe. However, if we begin to change our beliefs...
To psychology, you're not a night owl. You're actually doing something called revenge bedtime procrastination, which is where you stay up very late after work, school, college, because it's your way of reclaiming time that you feel was taken away from you throughout the day. And this is you trying to feel like you have a little bit of control over your life. If you can relate, maybe this account.
Reach your goal, how to reach the goal the quickest. Be focused with your energy. Discipline your thoughts. Stop thinking too much. Meaning, be focused with the mind. Don't go into the past. Don't go into the future. Be in the present. Whatever you do, from the moment of waking up until the evening, whatever you do, keep the goal in the mind. Why? This is the quickest way of making this goal become real. Because only then it's possible that the mind is free, the capacity is free, and now you can completely immerse into whatever you are doing.
Told people, I'm like, the easy thing to do at the end of the day is flowed all the way down. And then
The more I study successful men and women, the more I find that every single one of them, the top 5%, are very clear about where it is they're going and what it is they want to accomplish. And when I look at unsuccessful men and women, or men and women who seem to be unhappy and floundering, I find that almost invariably they have a very, very limited sense of direction, sometimes no sense of direction at all. You see, we as human beings are goal-seeking organisms. We only function at our very best when we're working toward accomplishing something that is important to us. And in my estimation, 80 to 90% of all the unhappiness, hostility, violence, psychosomatic illness, alcoholism, drug addiction, and so on in our society is caused by people having no sense of direction. They don't know where they're going. As they say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. If you understand this principle is terribly important. You can be the most talented, the smartest, the best educated person with the most valuable contacts and all the advantages in life, but if you are not focused, it doesn't do you any good at all. If you do not have clear, specific goals for your life, you are doomed forever.
Keep your goals confidential. Keep goals confidential. Don't discuss your goals with anybody, except that the great majority of people are threatened by anybody who has a goal. They're worried. It makes them feel inferior and inadequate because they don't have goals of their own. So only discuss your goals with people who also have goals of their own. Discuss them with the people close to you whose help you need to accomplish them, but just don't discuss your goals with people at random, and don't give them a chance to shoot the goals down.
Are negative today. The reason why people are unhappy, the reason why people are sick and frustrated, the reason why people underachieve in life is most of them are living by this law of accident. The law of accident simply says, by failing to plan, you're planning to fail. Now, these are the sort of people that say, well, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And feeling that their life is controlled by forces outside themselves, don't have clear plans, don't have clear goals. We are going to show you how to free yourself from the law of accident personally. You have an effect in your life that you want to have more of, more success, more money, more happiness, better health. You can trace it back to a cause. All progress in human life and human society stems back from identifying the causes.
Self-evaluation, and you got to do a lot of hard decision making, you know. But you got to, I think that if you committed to progress and you committed to success, that you're gonna figure it out based on survival and necessity. It's a lot of mental reprogramming you got to do more than anything, more than
around you. There was no fucking team. It was you. There was no weight loss program or mom and dad waking you up saying you can do it, you can be better, trying to build belief. You built belief when you had nothing. Rock bottom. You did that. So as times get hard for me, the truth comes out. And my truth is powerful as fuck. It's real. It's tangible. I feel it. It comes out of my brain as I speak about it. I'm reliving every
reason why people don't set goals. See if this applies to you. Is they don't know how. Surprisingly enough, and when I started studying this subject, I found that everybody said to set goals. Very important to set goals. Got to set goals. Got to have goals. Got to put a timeline on goals. But the fact is that there were no really good goal-setting methodologies. But if you don't know how to set goals, I can tell you to set goals all day and it wouldn't do you any good. You can go through 12 to 15 years of school in our society and never get 1 hour on goal setting. Imagine 12 to 15 years. I have taken a postgraduate degree in business from a major university, and never once did they spend 1 hour talking about how to set and achieve goals. Never